Hi guys, welcome to my video. Today's look is a 1940s inspired look. Last week we had VE Day and I did a 1940s look on my Instagram and I put a question out there saying, did you just want to see a tutorial? And you all said yes. So I did a little bit of video. Yeah, so here it is. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate that. And yeah, any suggestions for any future videos, pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. So basically, I have tried to use as much 1940s makeup or these brands that were around back then. So I just did my base, which is my Max Factor. This is really old. It's like, I don't even know if I should even be using it, but it'll be fine. So it's my Max Factor Pan Stick and in colour Nouveau Beige, and I just have a little bit of Max Factor. My MAC concealer is just on underneath my eyes. Now back in the 40s, obviously MAC wasn't around, but they did have a Max Factor created a concealer. It was called Erase. That was around, but I don't have any of that, and I didn't get any more Max Factor products. I'm going to use a little bit of cream blush. Now anything that I'm doing here is more Hollywood 1940s makeup, because back in the 1940s they didn't have an abundance of makeup, and women were just after coming from the war, or rather men were coming from the war, but women were doing two jobs. They were being mothers and they were also being having to keep up the workforce. So back in the 40s, women didn't have a lot of money for makeup, but they still wanted to look their best. So the main thing that they focused on was like products that had multiple uses. So if they could afford their base, that'd be brilliant. A lot of them couldn't, so they would just maybe invest in a moisturiser, which like the Estrelle and the Niveas were around. The Nivea creams were around back then. The Niveas. They would have been around at the time. Now for things like your rouge, they wouldn't have been around necessarily back then, but what they would have used would have been maybe just kept pinching your cheeks and give you that natural flush, because if they just had moisturiser on, you'd often see women doing this just to pinch their cheeks. Some women back in the day would have used kohl as a contour and as an eyeliner. Mascara was in a powder form and you had to have a little spoolie, and you would literally wet the spoolie and scrape it into the powder and then do it into your eyes. But then Max Factor invented what we now have today, which is the tube and the mascara wand. So Max Factor was like revolutionary back then. Also there was a makeup artist, he was a new makeup artist, and it was Ben Nye. He was very revolutionary when it came to makeup in the 40s and 50s. He basically invented more colour foundations for darker skin tones and more olive skin tones, whereas everybody else was kind of focusing on the paler white tones. So that's a bit of history there for you. Look up them brands, they're still going today. Ben Nye is still kept on the nice small thing, whereas Max Factor are now owned by P&G, I think it is, and they've gone like more global and more that. I guess they've kind of lost their uniqueness in that sense, whereas Ben Nye are still family run. This is my number 7 one. Again, number 7 was around the 40s as well, but they were not as prominent as they are today. They come from Nottingham, and it was Mrs. Boot who did it, and the number 7 comes from the lucky number 7, and number 7 was thought to be a perfect number, so that's why she gave it her makeup brand number 7, because it was supposed to be perfect. But mind you, Max Factor did say glamour is never, you're not born with glamour, glamour is created. And I agree, because if you ever see me without makeup, you'd know it. The scald you're looking head in me half the time. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of bronzer just because I can and I have it, and oh Jesus, did you hear that? Ooh. And I don't want to be looking a bit odd, so I'm just going to put a little bit on, and I'm using my e.l.f. one. It's just in toffee, it's a little bit dark, but I'll just use a little pinch. Now back in the day, before they had Technicolor cameras, they would use a green paste, grease paint, to get this done, because it would come up darker on camera. you know, to give the actors and actresses more definition onto their face. The stuff they used to do back then. I'm also watching this thing on Netflix at the minute. It's called Hollywood. Oh my god, the scandal! And I literally only found it there on Thursday night. I was learning how to do like these victory rolls, and this program comes up on my Netflix, Hollywood, and I was like, yes, give me that golden age of Hollywood. Like everybody was in it. It's like Rock Hudson, Vivian Leigh. I was like, give me this. What is this about? New program. Oh my god, I finished it last night. Bloody brilliant. I'm obsessed. Now I'm kind of figuring out, I'm trying to look into see who's this person. Did this actually exist? Did this film exist? These are things I never heard of. Oh, brilliant. And I'm also watching Project Blue Book on Sci-Fi. Well, I have it like, you know, catch up or whatever. Brilliant. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with aliens now. I'm like, what happened in the 40s and 50s that I don't know about when it comes to all this weirdness? But yeah, it's like fascinating. It's basically about a fella called Dr. Hynek, and it's actually an Irish lad who is in it. And yeah, it's bloody brilliant. I'm just like obsessed. So much happened in the 40s and 50s that we don't know about today. It's like bizarre. Back in the 40s and 50s, obviously they didn't have a lot of massive colours that we have today for eyeshadow and what have you. So the colours they kind of had, oops, this is my MAC ones, at these kind of colours here. So you'd have your like soft browns, a little bit of highlighters, and they also were mad into blues, silver blues, greys, blacks, only a small amount of black though. What else was there? Yeah, they didn't have like crazy pinks or reds or burnt oranges the way we have today. Like the makeup was very, very simple. It was all about creating a more beautiful face. It was more about emphasising a woman's femininity. Right, let's get on to this. So I'm going to go in with this little colour here. It's just a base colour. Any base colour will do. Back then they didn't have a lot of colours, so you know. Putting that white colour down just to set the base on my eyes. Very gently as well. Now I'm going to go and do my brows. Now back then they would have probably used either the brown eyeshadows or the black eyeshadows, depending on what colour your hair colour was, or they would have used maybe the mascara powder. You could have used anything. I'm just going to use a brow powder today. Think about the looks in the 40s and 50s was that their looks were timeless. Like even today they still look classic and beautiful. And the brows back then were quite high arched, which is fine for me because I have a high arch in my brows. Anyway, powdered through my brows, and I've just used a more neutral powder, just this one here. I've actually no idea what it is, I'll check later. But it doesn't matter, as long as it's like a white or a skin colour. So I'm just going to go in here with this one, this colour here, because it's more like what they had back in the day. And I'm just going to use that in my crease. When this lockdown is over, I think I'm actually buying myself a proper mirror. What I'm going to do is I am going to go in with some highlighter. So I'm just going to use this colour here, which is a peachy, oops, you can kind of see there's a peachy one. Again, peaches were very popular back then as well. When it came to highlighting like your eyes, it was kind of colours like peaches, gold and whites. I'm just going to put a little bit of that same highlight in here and in here. Now that that is done, next thing I'm going to do is some eyeliner. Now let me see what I got for eyeliners. Eyeliners back then were very popular as well. Again, they were more powdered. I think the liquid ones were invented in the 40s and 50s, but everybody had a flick, a cat eye flick, because that was the thing back then. So I've just put a little bit of black eyeliner on there and I've winged it out, which was what they did back in the 50s. So I'm just going to let that dry for a second. I'm just going to go ahead and do my lipstick. Now lipstick back then was really, really popular. It was like the thing to have. It was like nearly the ultimate sign of like femininity was your red lipstick. So the colour I have is Blake's Red by Riche from L'Oreal. And this is what I do. I slap on the colour first. And then we blend it out. And I'm using my number, I think it's number 3, Barry M lip pencil. It's tiny, but it'll do. I use this colour to get my shape. And then the other 2 colours I use afterwards are to give me the Marilyn Monroe pout, which I'll show you how to do as well. So I've got my shape pretty much how I want it. Now this next technique I'm going to show you was actually invented by Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist. His name was Whitey. And what he used to do was he would take 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 colours of red and mix them all together in different areas so that he'd give more of a structured look to a lip. So what I'm going to use is Miss Diva from MAC, and I'm going to use that on the outside. It's not going to be really noticeable because Miss Diva is quite dark, as you can see, but it's not going to be that dark on my lips. You're not going to see it. That's dark. And bring it down under your lip so it gives you more of a fuller lip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do my Cupid's bow area with this colour. I'll do that with a different colour. Now, so for the top of the lip and the Cupid's bow, I'm going to use my MAC Red. Just the ordinary REDD one. And I'm just going to get the crispness and the sharpness with this one. There we are. Now, another trick. They used to use either white eyeshadows or your highlight, whatever colour you want to highlight with. Just do that. A little bit on your ring finger. And there you go. Mouth looks bigger. Bigger already, using some 1940s hacks. Now they did have lip gloss back then, but it wasn't called lip gloss, it was called lip pomade. And it was again invented by Mr. Max Factor. So I'm not using a lip pomade because it'll destroy all that on me, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. So I'm going to go in now and finish my eyes. So I'm using my Max Factor 2000 calorie mascara because this was one of the first mascaras I ever bought and I love it. So lips are on, eyes are, mascara is on. What I'm going to use next is my white eye pencil from Rimmel, I think it is. Yep, it's pretty much all gone. I think it is Rimmel. Yes, it is Rimmel. So I'm going to use my white eyeliner pencil thingy from Rimmel, and I'm just going to put it in my waterline. This one is okay. The best white, like literally the whitest white eye pencil I've ever found is from NYX, and it's in the colour Milk, and it is just the whitest white one. Now lashes. Now they did have lashes back in the day. Where the hell did I put my ones? 2 minutes. The eyelashes I'm using are my trusty 48s from MAC because I always wear them whenever I wear. mascara through my eyelashes as well. And that is pretty much the look done. I'm going to put a little bit of highlighter, just because I can. And again, I'm going to use the same one that I used on my eyes, because it was beautiful and I really like it. Now back then they would have a thing called a cream puff, which was powder, but it was invented again by Max Factor. Now I don't have that. What I have is the Ben Nye neutral set. Now Ben Nye was a makeup artist back in the 40s and 50s, and he did makeup. He won an Oscar actually for makeup on my favourite film of all time, Gone with the Wind. Great bottles of fire, Red Butler. I love that film. Anyhow, he did the makeup on that and he won an Oscar for it. And he did the makeup on Hattie Daniels as well. So he actually invented makeup for her colouring, which he did for loads of other Hollywood actors back in the day. He didn't do it just for white people, he did it for everybody. This stuff is so finely milled, no flashback, no nothing, just keeps everything in place. Honestly, like when I was training to be a makeup artist, we used a lot of Ben Nye products, and everything from their special effects makeup right through to their cosmetics and, you know, lipsticks, foundations, whatever, everything is just so perfect. And it's absolutely a dream to work with it. You just know that every product you get from Ben Nye does exactly what it says in the tin. There is literally no messing. It's just very hard got because you have to go to specific pro stores, and some places won't sell it to you unless you're actually a professional. You can get this, they have like, when you're buying this one, they have I think a little smaller one, and they've got a huge one, which I was very tempted to buy, but then I was like, I don't fancy lugging that around with me. My kit's heavy enough as it is. Break me back. Especially when I was pregnant, I used to have to get my fella to bring it around for me because I was like, I'm not dragging that. Not dragging that. And that's it. Shanae, job done. I hope you liked this tutorial, and I hope you found it somewhat informative, if anything. And yeah, this is exactly all the makeup that I wore in my picture on my Instagram. So thank you so much for y'all to say, yeah, you wanted me to do it, because I did not know what I was doing, whether I would do it or not. But now I have it done, and there it is. And yeah, please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. I keep forgetting to say that in every video. Just please like and subscribe. Yeah, until next time.